Morning. It's time for Cindy's morning car chat. It is March 10th, 2025. And I'm not sure what the temperature is right now. It is definitely warmer than it has been. Maybe, I'm guessing 32, 33, something like that. Um, Good morning. It's Monday morning, and I'm on my way to school. And it's been an interesting weekend. Uh, Lots to talk about for sure. So, my name is Cindy, and I'm a math teacher, and I'm on my way to school right now. And I'm also a person who is involved in my community government and now the state government. So, last week on Thursday, I went to the State House and I was one of 400 state representatives for the state of New Hampshire. And we had a lot of things to vote on. We had lots of bills. There are like 1,000 bills that get put over to the state reps, which is unbelievable. It's just been like riding a wave because I don't know how I got here, but it's been fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I've always been a person who loves my country, very appreciative of what I have and freedom, to choose. Even for school, when I was 13, I went to public school up to the age of 13, and I asked my dad to send me to a Christian school because I wasn't happy in the public school. And I really loved learning. I loved everything about learning. I just wasn't happy with the public school community. And I was kind of fearful for my life in some ways. And I grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire, and there was a lot of bullying, a lot of gang fights, and I had never experienced one myself, but I was too close for comfort. And I just was scared that if I was a good person trying to do a good job, that I was in the minority and somebody's going to try to beat me up. That's kind of how I felt at 13 years old. So I am going to school. Hello, good morning, Cash. Thank you for coming by. And so I went to a private school in my high school years, 9th through 12th grade. And it was a Christian school in New Hampshire, in the northern woods of New Hampshire. And when you drive there, it seems like you're in the middle of nowhere. But it was amazing. I loved it. And they were very connected with outside sources. Good morning. Thank you for coming. Give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate your uh, coming to my channel. My name is Cindy. I'm headed to work, and I appreciate you coming. How many children do I have? I have 13 children, although they're not children anymore. Today is my let's see, 12th child. It's his birthday today, and he is 19 years old. And my last child is 17 years old. So I'm kind of old. But I don't feel very old. I'm still very much involved in, you know, doing things. So I'm on my way to school. I teach math. I teach grades 7 through 11 right now. I teach 7th grade math, 8th grade math, and Algebra 1 and Geometry. Good morning. Yes, thank you for coming. Wow, I have 16 viewers. If you all give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. Give me a few minutes of time to watch time. And I just want to say that, yeah, I have 13 children. I'm still alive. Some people think that if you have a lot of kids that you're going to die from having children, but not necessarily. I mean, there are some dangerous situations if you have one child or two children. But I've been blessed with 13, and I've looking back, I don't have any regrets. I mean, I have regrets on, maybe how I handled certain situations, but I'm just really thankful that I was able to be in America and have a large family and the adventures we went on and all the things. I don't have to tell you my old age, do I? How old are you? I'm old enough to have 13 children and still be alive. So take a stab at what you think my age is. And yeah, so it's been a journey, and now I'm in a car by myself. And, I never thought I'd ever have to live alone again, but here I am, headed to school. But I go to school where my kids go to school. I have two kids still in school. One's a senior, one's a junior, and they're going to be one graduating this year, and another boy going to graduate next year. And then I will have gotten all of my kids out of high school. I homeschooled for many years as well. I homeschooled, and I have sent them to private Christian schools while I teach. And yeah, so I have taught my kids at home. I could now, like I could teach these two at home, but they would rather go to school. So we're going to school. So I'm a teacher, and they go to school there, and they like to be around people, and it's a small group, and they have made good friends. They like to meet up with their friends when it's not school time. So I hope that they've made friends, for life. It's a small school, and we have some advantages that bigger schools don't have, and there's some things that we don't have that bigger schools do have. So it's kind of a trade-off, but it's a safe environment, and I really like it there. It's about 40 minutes um, from my house, so I have to take a little bit of a drive. So I've been doing car chats every day. Well, not every day, but several times. And I just talk about teacher life, things that teachers do in their free time. And just thought I'd come on here this morning. It's a beautiful morning. In the U.S., we have this thing called daylight savings time. So yesterday, we actually had to put our clocks ahead 1 hour. And so this morning, it's a little brighter morning than it's been because, it's an hour later, technically. I've heard some people say that sometime we'll do away with daylight savings time, but so far we're still living the dream. I'm not exactly sure why we do this. They say it's to save. We don't really save daylight. It just seems kind of weird. And it's always like some people have a really hard time with the time change, and when my kids were growing up, they seemed to naturally adapt to the time change. I don't remember it being a big problem, but I've heard some people say that they really have a hard time adjusting to it. I think at night when you're really tired, you feel like, why am I so tired? Isn't that how it is? And then you realize it's actually an hour later. Or no, it's an hour earlier. I don't know. It's a little confusing. So anyway, yeah, so it's kind of an hour later, and I am headed to school. And what else? So it's Monday, March 10th. Spring is coming, which is exciting. It's time to plant seeds if you want to start your garden. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my friend Cherie Burlington, who has a video. She has a YouTube channel, and it's all about art. But she also talks about she has a video about her journey on the Camino when she was 60. And it was, I think, 10 years ago. So I met her maybe 2 years ago, and we become really close friends. We live in town, and we can meet up in person, which is nice. But she decided she's going to start a YouTube channel. And she never told me the story of her journey on the Camino. And I would really encourage you to go check that video out. It was quite fascinating. And especially if you're in the older generation, maybe if you're in the younger, because then you could plan to do it yourself. I'm not really one for movies. I didn't even know about this journey on the Camino, but I've noticed that more people on YouTube do this journey and have shared their story. So I might be interested in other people sharing a similar story, but she talks about how she went over to another country. She just said, "I'm doing it," and she went on her own. But she kind of met people along the way, and she learned about herself, and she made this amazing journey and accomplishment, which gave her strength for her life, because the original motivation for her doing this journey was that her son died in a motorcycle accident, and she had to make peace with that. And that's how I met her, because she has a similar story, although she only had one child. That was her only child. And you know, she was a mom, and then one child is gone, and you know, what do I do? I'm this mom, you know, and now my son is gone, and I can't even imagine having one child and having to go through this. And then you can imagine, for me, I have 13 kids, and you're never a complete family until everybody's together. And I can't even talk about it still. Someday I'll be able to share the story of my son, and he had a ski accident, and he was right before, 2 months before his 22nd birthday. And he's my ninth child, and I still hurt. But, you know, putting the two together, the journey of the Camino is kind of like your journey of life. And it was kind of cool how she said, you know, she started out alone, but she met people. And when she met people, it made her journey easier. And, you know, that's kind of how life is. You know, a lot of times we're alone on our journey. But then again, when we meet people that kind of make our journey more bearable, more enjoyable, more interesting. But then again, we need that time alone as well, and to work through the things that we have to work through. So it's, you know, in my world, I'm always trying to, I guess I've been in Christian circles where they try to tell you this is the road that God wants you to be on. It's a narrow road, and you got to be on this narrow road. And in some ways, it's a narrow road, but not everybody's road is the same. Like, everybody has a different journey, and you can't say that out of all of my kids, they all want to pick a different path. It's like, if you guys would just be on the same path a little bit, it might be helpful. I just heard that one of my kids is helping one of my other kids get a good job with the same company in a different location. So I thought, you know, that's good that they can help each other, because that was my hope with all of my children, is that they would, oh my gosh, it's 14 for 4 minutes and 4 viewers and 4 thumbs up. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I have to go to my friend's house to get my necklace back, but 444 has been a special number that keeps coming up for me because, excuse me, it reminds me of my son when his friend left the ski area and they knew that the worst had happened and he had to drive home, and he looked down at his clock and it was 444. And he said that was the number of angels, and I'm not into numerology or anything like that, but I did look that up, and it seemed like that's kind of the agreement, that 444 is the number of angels. So I figured I'll take it, and so many times I've looked at the clock and it's 444, either in the morning or in the afternoon. Or sometimes I'll look at a license plate and it'll say 444. I will, one time we were golfing. We went to Top Golf in South Carolina, and this was not long after my son's accident, like in the summer, that summer. We get there at this Top Golf place, and this girl starts helping us, serving us, at the tables. And I looked at her, and she had this tattoo on the side of her face, like behind her ear, and it was 444. And I was like, what in the world? I've never seen this number on a person. And I looked at it, and she was a young girl, and I said, I don't usually do this, but can I ask you a question? And she said, sure. And I said, what does that number mean to you that you have tattooed on your neck there? And she said, it's just a number. I don't know if it was maybe to her it was an angel number. Maybe it was meant for someone, but she didn't tell me that. She didn't really say much about it. She was kind of vague. And then I told her, I said, my son passed away, and this is a special number to me. And then I never saw her again. Like, she never came back. So I don't know if she was offended. She didn't act offended, but I just thought, was she an angel? I don't know. It was very strange. But we had been to that Top Golf place with my son. I have like a picture of him golfing there. And so anyway, it's just weird. But anyway, I said that because the number on my video was, when I glanced over, it was 1444, and 4 watchers and 4 thumbs up. So anyway, my friend did the Camino, whatever that is. I don't even know that much about it. France and Spain and journey, path, and she mentioned her friends and how they met up, and it reminded me of life, how we go through life, we're singletons, in a way we're alone, and then we meet up, we find friends. Now I'm looking at a license plate ahead. It's 4. There's a 4 at the beginning, a 4, and another 44. So I don't know, maybe 4 is just a fun number to look at. It's like a triangle. So anyway, it's like life, and also on the journey, you have friends that help you for a little while, and then they move on, and then you have a new friend. And it's kind of interesting. I chose to watch that video. I watched half of it yesterday and half of it today. Yesterday, I was all ready to go on with a poem that I had in my memories about the way of a man. The way is, we have choices and we choose our way. And that could be figuratively or physically. We choose our way of how we're going to do life, and if we're going to make sacrifices, or if we're going to, whatever it might be. I don't know. I think everybody kind of makes sacrifices at some point for something. But we choose our way, and we have to make our choices, and then we have to be okay with those choices. So, going back to the state house, when you're in the state house, you make your choices. Like, what type of belief system am I going to have? What type of people I'm going to team up with? In my case, I have two guys that I ran with, and it's all fun and games when you're running for the seat. And, it's really fun to get out there and meet people and ask them for their vote. But then you get into the state house and you have to do your voting. And then are you going to stick with the group, or sometimes are you going to have to stray from the group because of your convictions? Um, and then you got to be ready when the opposition comes. I got a letter that said, "Shame on you for voting in this certain way." I'm sure other people got the same letter, but you have to be ready to stand up for what you believe and to speak up for it. And so Thursday at the State House, we had a woman that stood up for women's rights, and it was because it's Women's Day on Saturday. It was like Women's Day. I don't know. This is Women's Month. Stand up for Women's Month. And she was just talking about how women have been silenced years ago, like when they were in the sweatshops. Women were silenced, and she talked about an example of women working in a factory, and the fire started and the women couldn't get out because they were locked in, which is really sad. I don't know how that could even be a thing, that you would lock people inside a building so they would work. But they were, and they died. And so she said, women were silenced years ago. Then they became activists and, got the right to vote and everything. And look at us now, that women are being silenced with a lot of other things, maybe domestic abuse, maybe types of jobs. If you say anything, you're going to lose your job about whatever's going on. Or even in women's sports, like women are having to just sit there and be quiet, and while there's a person who was born a man takes their title as the champion. And so women are being silenced in many ways. And she was just talking about how we need to stand up for women and help them to speak up and speak up ourselves. And I found that even on YouTube, there's certain topics that I won't talk about because I'm afraid that somebody will not like it, or that it's going to not get enough views because I said whatever. And I find, before I started YouTube, I thought we had a really free country. And then I realized, we sort of do have a free country, but we still have to withstand some scrutiny, and we still have to stand up for what we believe in. And so that's, the story of my friend, Cherie Burlington, with the El Camino. Maybe you know that journey. I'm not really familiar with it. I will become more familiar with it. I don't think I'm going to do it. But I feel like I've been on my own journey that is not necessarily in another country, but it's a personal journey, which is just as exciting and difficult sometimes. But it also reminds me of the book called Pilgrim's Progress, and I'm going to ask my friend if she has ever read that book by, is it John Bunyan? I can't remember. Bunyan, I think it's John. So yeah, he was put in prison for speaking the Bible in his day. And he was put in prison, and he ended up writing this book. And it's one of the most widely read books other than the Bible. And it's a really good story, but it has a lot of application to our real life. Oh, hi, Jennifer DeGroff. That's my husband's favorite book. Yeah. I would say that my husband says that that's one of his favorites as well. And, you know, when we were in high school, we had to read it. It was required reading because I went to a Christian school. And then later on, when we were at one of the first school I taught at, the second year I was there, the kids put on the play of the Pilgrim's Progress. And this was ages first grade up to sixth grade. And it was amazing. Like, it was really hard to put together. And I thought it was a little mature for those ages, but it came together it was absolutely awesome. And I'm not sure the kids really appreciate it as much as the adults, but we had an artist that made like a tapestry for every different scene that we had, and the kids memorized their parts. It was great. And my friend who was the director, she's a teacher, her son was Pilgrim. And never forget, at the beginning, he was actually sick, and then it was touch and go whether he was going to be able to do it. And he was able to pull it off, and then he almost forgot his Bible, but he got a Bible at the beginning. I think he had to switch from his backpack to his Bible. But those are good memories. I don't have that on video. I don't know if my friend still has it. I think she recorded it, but we didn't have like YouTube at that time to put it on YouTube or something. I don't know if we could even with kids, but it was an amazing story. And it is a great analogy to life. So if you haven't seen it, it's a really awesome one. Well, it's a good morning. I hope it's a good morning where you are. I'm almost to my school and the sun is shining, which is nice. Today is Monday and it's ski club for my kids, and so that means different kind of day at the school for me. And we have crochet club at the end of the day. So we've got some kids that are crocheting and they're figuring it out. And hopefully we'll be able to come up with a project that we can put up together to get, make an accomplishment and maybe keep it going into next year as well. Because as you know, any skill like that takes lots and lots of practice. But some of the kids have been working hard, practicing. It's been fun to watch them go from, I can't do this, to, look at me, I'm doing it. And these are grade ages 5th grade and up. So it's been a lot of fun. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.